Welcome to the Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Shepard. Go.
I wasn't ready for you to say welcome or hello. It scared me.
I said 3, 2, 1. I am your host,
Sorry.
Thomas.
I'm off cue. This is Kari, who
Yep.
can't control her laughter like a 5-year-old.
It's very late at night tonight.
It is. It's too late.
This might not be the best time of night to be talking about the subject that we're going to be talking.
We're ridiculous.
Oh my word!
I cannot control. This is why I always got called out in church. Always. Because I was laughing. I can't wait to watch that video back when you said hello. I was like,
well, why? Why would you laugh in church? Sorry, I'm trying to get my composure.
Usually because I was sitting next to Stephanie Hiddle, who was hysterical. I still laugh when I'm with her. She was so funny, and she would always write funny things on my notes. I've never seen you lose control like this. I'm so excited.
Oh, my lands. Okay. We have to get into this podcast.
What are we even talking about?
Well, out of our 3 listeners, we only have 1 left.
It's probably one of our kids or my mom.
They're like, yeah, we're not listening to this episode. How annoying.
Oh my word.
Okay. All right. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
If you're just tuning in, we're glad that you are listening this evening as we're going to dive into the subject of friendship. We're going to start, we're going to start talking about why we have no friends.
Yeah. It should be pretty evident by now.
Why does no one want to hang out with us?
We don't know. That's
we
what we're
crack
here to
each
find
other
out.
up.
Yeah.
Like I would think.
At least we think we're funny.
Why wouldn't anyone want to get on this? Like friendship.
I don't know.
Be friends with the Shepherds. That'd be great.
They're about to tell us though.
Yeah,
we're really opening ourselves up here.
Seriously. We will get more emails on this episode than any other episode. We'll tell you why. Okay. Well, Kara, let's talk a little bit about friendship this evening.
Yeah.
I have to divide this up. I feel like this is for sure a subject that comes up in churches and with pastors' wives, any meetings we go to. I can't tell you the amount of people over the years that we've spoken with on this very subject.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not just a youth subject of, oh, you got to find the right kind of friends.
Yeah.
No, this is really people for sure struggle in this arena, in this area of having friends, finding friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then from a pastor's point of view, I'll just go ahead and put it right out there. I think we have in some ways developed our churches to people seem to think it's the church's responsibility to find everybody friends, and it's the church's responsibility to you have to be my friend. You got to find me friends. You got to find me things to do, and then we have those that just struggle with making friends or the right kind of friends. It's a subject that could go on and on and on.
I don't think we could ever exhaust this topic.
No.
But we'll try to condense it down into maybe even a few episodes. But you kind of struck a nerve. Yeah. That's definitely one of my hot buttons for ministry and even just living in, girl world, is that I don't think I've ever been to a ministry or a new church. We've moved quite a bit, where I haven't had several women come up and say, I've been here for 3 years. I've been here for 8 years. I've been here for 10 years. And I just don't have any friends. Or we've gone out a few times, but nothing's really stuck. And that has bothered me over the years. It's made me feel really sad. And we are sort of the opposite. I feel like friendships have come, I don't want to say they've come easy, because friendships are definitely work and you have to put time in. But I feel like we've made friends everywhere we've gone. And so this has definitely been a subject that we've labored over to be able to communicate with people how to make friends as adults, which is funny because you kind of have to deal with this with kids too. But
right.
As adults, it's definitely a thing.
For sure. We could probably speak into another episode for teenagers that tune in and listen. And we are thankful, young people, that you are tuning in. It's wonderful. We want to have a positive impact on your life. And not to say don't tune out, to continue to listen, but this is definitely an adult subject that more and more people are struggling with, especially Care, since we are in a social media age now, to where there's not a lot of face-to-face. People don't know their neighbors like we used to. People don't hang out like they used to.
Right.
There's just, it's all snooping on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and that's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how many friends do we have on social media of people we've never met, seen, and probably never will?
Mm-hmm.
And so then now there's this massive digital struggle because people live in that world. Then they get together and it's this awkward, you just can't leave. You got to be able
Mm-hmm.
to, you got to be able to stick it out and have those close friends. And so, Kari and I, like you said, I don't feel like we struggle in this area. We have people that for sure we are close with. Of course, we have family. Then we have our church family that are very close. But we still want to be an encouragement and a help.
Mm-hmm.
And just to let you know, you're not alone out there
Mm-hmm.
in this arena of, man, I'm a single mom and I can't find friends, or, I'm weird, or I'm this, or nobody. Trust me, we've all kind of been there. So we want to help you out. So Kara, why don't you start us out?
I think first of all, a help that you could really focus on if you're trying to make friends or you feel like you just don't have any deep friendships is flexibility. I think that's the number one thing for me, is that in this culture, you have to be flexible. So much I hear of people, their expectations for friendships are really intense.
Yeah.
They have really high expectations.
Yeah, it's well
and
said.
I'm like, oh, that's a lot, And in this culture, people are so busy. We just live in this world where you go and you work and you grind it out all the time. And I'm not saying it's right or glorifying it. I even kind of don't agree with it and don't like it, but it is the world we live in. And so I have found that a way to keep friendships and to further friendships along are just have a lot of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
You've got these friends where, and I always use this example, I'm sure some of my ladies are tired of hearing it, but it does ring true. I know at our last ministry in West Virginia, I had like a lady that we always just did Starbucks. Like that was our thing. She would come to the house during the week if she had a break from work, and she would, throw me and the kids in her car and we would run through Starbucks drive through. We wouldn't even go in because I had 5 billion kids. And she would say, let's just run through and get a coffee. And it was a quick 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back. We had our little time together and it was encouraging to me. It was a blessing. And then I had another lady that, we lived in the same neighborhood. So we were kind of like porch friends. We hung out, our kids played in the yard. We sat there and, drank Diet Coke and, and enjoyed one another's company a couple of times a week. And it was just like that flexibility. I didn't expect either of those women to perform or provide the function that the other one did. It was like they did what they could to be a part of my life and I did the same. And it wasn't really a massive effort, but those small moments built our friendships and there was no pressure. It was not that friend and I go to Starbucks together, or we sit together in church, or we might take our kids to the homeschool group. So I expect that from any other person that I'm interacting with. No, it was whatever she could do in the moment, whatever fit her lifestyle. How can I fit into your life in a positive way? And how can I be a friend to you that's convenient and helpful to you? And that really impacted me, that those ladies, that they, and again, I was having babies, like I had 5 kids in 6 years. And so my schedule was not great. I was most of the time sleep deprived, but they really just stepped into my life in any way that they possibly could. And it was zero pressure on me.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest lesson I've learned about friendship is just don't set these expectations where someone has to be your everything, like the sun rises and sets on that person. Allow them to be in your life, even in a small way, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it and be appreciative just for even that, and that ironically, those small little waterings of that seed of friendship will grow it. And you'll have these times to look back on and say, like, that really affected me for the good.
Yeah, that's good.
What about you?
Well, I'm just gonna. I love what you said about flexibility. I guess I've never really thought about that, but it is true that when we have these expectations, someone's going to get hurt. It's either going to be you're looking at you be my friend, or I need you here, or why can't you be there for me? That expectation that's put on, and either you're getting hurt because they're not living up to your expectation, or honestly, you can make someone feel really bad,
right?
That have you ever gotten a text before and it's like, I know you're so busy and you have so much going on, but
I know you don't have time for me.
Right.
It's like this guilt trip.
I think that's unfair for anybody.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
not
think
right.
It just doesn't seem like it's fair.
Right.
Someone's going to get hurt, and you read that, and then you're guilt tripping someone into spend time with me. But what you said was we really do all live in a very, very busy world. And so that flexibility is so true in that it might not be, hey, we can take a 4-day vacation together. It literally might be, hey, let's go grab coffee real quick.
Yeah.
And when it's done, you're flexible. That's all we could do. We got to hang out for a little while. And I think flexible, I would like to say this once again. We have a lot of ministry folks that are tuned in. And I would just like to say, come early to church and stay after church.
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot of people realize you don't have to rush out of there. And then the expectation of come see me, let's get together, let's hang out. A lot of times you can meet a lot of great people just hanging out after church. We at Crosspoint Baptist have an incredible group of people. And man, we've been at church, I'm telling you, this is no joke, an hour and a half after church, many a times. And there's still people all over that building, auditorium, in the parking lot, hanging out, fellowshipping, because, hey, we're flexible. It's the only time we really can.
You're already there.
Yeah.
You already committed the time. What's a few more minutes? And I think, too, something that women struggle with specifically in gender, and maybe this is, I don't know how it is for a man, so maybe you can kind of speak from a man's point of view. But for women, I've heard a lot, I just want to find someone who's like me. And that really flies in the face of flexibility. And it's not really realistic. Like, no one's exactly like you, right? And there are some things that you can have in common with someone, and that's fun. I've had a friend before that we were so much alike, and that did assist in our friendship. However, I've had friends that were my mom's age. I've had friends that were much younger than me. One of my dearest friends in life right now, probably looks at me like a mother figure because I'm so much older than her. But I love her. We get along so well. We don't have a lot in common. But what we have in common is I think she's hilarious and she thinks I'm great. And so a couple times a month we'll send a text and, catch up on each other's life and 5 or 6 text messages or a quick Marco Polo, but they don't have to be just like you. Right. And that kind of plays into what you were saying. Like, you can stay after church and not talk to the same people every time, find somebody new. You just never know who you're going to connect with and who your heart will resonate with. Absolutely. But the flexibility there for women is that don't put the pressure on someone else to have so much in common as you or think just like you. Again, some of my friends are so opposite than me. And I tend to be drawn more towards type A people because I'm not. And so I crave their structure and that opposite viewpoint that they have. I like that. I like, someone different than me that I can connect with and see the world from their point of view. But a lot of people want someone just like them.
Right.
And that will really limit you because that's difficult to do.
Right.
So be flexible in that area too. Open up to new possibilities. Maybe somebody older or younger than you, or somebody that's from a very different walk of life. And God can use that in your life to really encourage you. Is that the same for a man, or is it guys don't care about that?
It's similar, but it's not exactly the same. I think guys are a little bit more lean towards people who like the same things that we do. Not always, but I think it's probably a little bit bigger factor in a male's point of view, just because there's been guys in my life that I hang out with, and we sit there and could talk about sports all day long, or history, or things we're reading. It can become awkward a little bit when you're like,
if you don't have anything.
Yeah, do you like sports? No, I don't really play sports. Oh, what are you reading lately? I'm not a reader.
This is because guys don't talk about their emotions.
That is true.
Women
That's
always
true.
have emotions to talk about.
Yeah. No, guys will just stare at each other and then turn on the TV.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. I think for guys it is a little bit different, but
yeah.
Still, I've got great friends that we don't have a lot in common, or they don't like everything that I like, and yet I think our commonality is probably our Christianity, and so there's always that. And sometimes life stage comes into play too. Like, I love hanging out with younger people, but at some point, some of our closest friends are,
we're like, 40 now.
It's 6:30, guys. Can y'all go home?
We have to go to bed.
For me, I think it's we can always talk about family. A lot of the people like Kari and I spend a lot of time with are people that are in our life stage group that they're raising kids, that they've got a husband or a wife, and so there's that. We've got that in common for sure. What's next? Flexible. What else you got?
I think a friendship, always should be fun. I think, again, I've seen this time and time again, where women seek a friend, they want a friend, and there's nothing wrong with that. The motives are good. The execution is rough because they might acquire this friend and then they just dump all of their issues upon them. And they just make it this almost like you become counselor, you become, support, you become their everything. And it means so much to them that they begin to drown that friend with their life. And that's just a recipe for disaster. Friendships can be supportive. You can be there for each other. You can have, that foundation and that friendship, but you've got to mix in the fun. You've got to enjoy it. And I think a lot of times I see kind of that drowning thing where, someone's drowning, so they grab onto someone else, and the first thing to do is dunk them under to try to get air. And that's what happens a lot with women. We're so desperate for connection and for meaningful relationships that sometimes you can pull somebody under and you don't even realize you're suffocating them.
Yeah.
And that's important to make sure that you rely on Jesus for your emotional needs, and even your spouse, or, get a counselor. But when you confide in your friend, make sure you balance that out. You've got to have laughs. You've got to have funny stories together. You've got to have times where, you're emotionally releasing some enjoyment,
right?
Or you're not going to have friends for long.
Well, the Bible does say, "A merry heart doeth good like medicine."
Yes,
and Kari can tell you, or if you tune in, me personally. I'm a positive person. I have to live in it's the way the Lord created me. I have to be in a positive atmosphere. And so the friends that I try to make, and or the type of friend that I try to be, is a positive friend,
Mhm.
one that has joy, one that loves others. We have we've already said we're not going to name people on this, so if you're tuning in, you're thinking that's me. You couldn't. It might be you, but I would never tell you. But there are some people that could be very doom and gloom.
Mhm.
It's their social media. It's what they listen to. The world's coming to an end every single day over the
Yeah.
last, since Y2K, it has been, this is going to happen. Just wait, this is going to happen. None of it has to do with Revelation or Daniel. It's just what is in their echo chamber. And Carrick, you know this, I cannot live there.
Yeah.
Like my close friends, I'll say, oh, that's great. It's good. Okay, yeah, we got some extra water here, but I can't live in this realm of negativity. And so my encouragement to you is, if you're listening to this, be the type of friend that is encouraging, especially if you're a
Right.
Christian. This world's not our home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we go through hard times, and yes, we have to talk it out, but
Mhm.
maybe you could be in a state where you're not finding friends because your friends can't handle you being the negative person that walks in a room, and it's,
Yeah.
oh my word, here we go. Here comes all the problems. Here comes where the world's coming to an end. And
Mhm.
so I'm encourage you, a merry heart doeth good like medicine. That's true. It's proven.
Yeah.
It's good for your health to be around people. Like my favorite person in the world to hang out with is my wife, because
Aw.
we make each other laugh.
We do.
We know the balance of,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of black and white. You're a little bit more a conspiracy theorist. It's no.
I wear that proudly.
We'll do a whole podcast on that, an episode on that. But you have somebody that you can truly have fun with.
Yeah.
And that's our family. We get in a car, we're all laughing till we are crying, and it is good for your soul. It's
Yeah.
good for your soul to have friends like that.
And it's not to say you can't share your burdens.
Oh, my
you
word, no.
you should have friends that bear your burdens, and you
Sure.
should be a burden bearer for your friend. But again, it's that balance.
Don't live there.
That balance has to come in. I mean, I'm thinking of my friend, and she wouldn't even care if I named her name, but she has held me when I have cried till I have no more tears.
Mm.
And we have sat there and literally, bawled over issues in her life too. But I can go back and I can literally text her a ski trip and we will both die laughing. And she'll know exactly what I'm saying. Like, we have so many funny memories. And I've got a couple people like that where, it's balanced out. We can bear those burdens because it's balanced with healthy memories of
good.
fun and love, and kind of what plays in that flexibility too is you should have different types of friends.
Yeah.
If you're only friends with one person, and there's those people out there that can only have
Sure.
one friend at a time because they just can't stand sharing, or they can't take when their friend hangs out with someone else. Like, that's childish. It's foolish. I'm sorry if that's you. That's not okay. That's not an adult way to view the world. You should be able to have more than one friend, and you should have different types of friends. You should have friends that you're pulling up spiritually and you're a good influence on, and you're assisting them in their walk with Christ and in their, growth as a human being. But then you should also have friends that are doing that for you.
Mm-hmm.
You should have friends, and typically that's older people than you, right? But
Right.
you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into one type of friend where, you only ever goof off and laugh and there's no depth there. But then you can't constantly also be, dumping burdens. This is all about balance. You want to have that different array of people where if you need a mama figure, you've got somebody you can call. But if you need, a girlfriend to go out to eat and talk about the kids and just, stress release, you've got that too.
Yeah.
And again, it all kind of circles back to flexibility.
And some people have those personalities where it is that one, I can only have one friend. I can only have one friend. What I've seen many a times is it really does lead to jealousy because that friend, it might not even be the opposite sex. It just, they start hanging out with someone else, and that soul cannot take that. There's it's this weird nature in them that gets all mad. Then they get pouty. Then the other friend comes back. What's wrong? Nothing, nothing, nothing. It's a very actually immature. I think what you said is just not right. And so
Right.
guard yourself. We all have friends that we're very close to, but be careful that you don't become this. Um, I can only have one friend, and that one friend can't have any other friends but
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's rough.
And I would say this, parents, work with your kids at a very young age.
Right.
Don't let them develop that. My friend didn't talk to me today at school. They talked to somebody else. They sat somewhere else. Oh, great! Go find some other friends.
Mm-hmm.
Hang out with other people.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few verses on friendship in the Book of Psalms that you got to go look up,
Mm-hmm.
and for sure be that type of friend, like Kari said, that you have a mentorship with,
Mm-hmm.
but then also you're being a mentor too. What
Yeah.
else you got, Kari?
Yeah. Of course, you always want to keep focused on Christ.
Yeah.
Even in
Yeah.
your friendships, you don't ever want to make a friendship where it takes this place, if you're married, of your spouse.
Mm.
You don't want it to invade your life to the point and you become so dependent on someone that you stop growing spiritually because
That's
that
true. person's
person's satisfying all your needs, right?
Mm.
And that's actually a trap, to be personal more and vulnerable with myself. That's something I can tend to do. I have so many friends and I have such good relationships, and I have such strong believers in my life that help me spiritually, that sometimes I can go to them before I even pray about something.
Mm.
I'm having an issue and I'll text somebody and I'm like, man, I didn't even ask God if he would help me first, because I know my girl will. And, that's good that they're willing to help. But again, you have to stay focused on your own spiritual growth and your own relationship with God, to the point where you're not picking up your phone and texting or posting before you've even had a chance to meditate about a life issue or another relationship, and really give God the chance to speak into your heart first.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a weakness for women. I mean, we love that connection, and God's given us the ability to connect on such a deep level that sometimes it can kind of take the place of maybe a spouse or
Sure.
a family relationship, or even God himself.
Yep.
So I think that's an important thing to remember is keep that relationship with God and with your husband or wife primary, and then friendships come after that. I think that's healthy.
For sure. I've been preaching through the book of James, and in James chapter 4, it talks about the spirit that is in us, and how our God is a jealous God,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very good. He it's a great thing. He wants us, and he loves us, and he yearns to be with us. And if we're not careful, an unhealthy friendship will come before that relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter where you're at in your journey with Christ, let me encourage you, let that friendship be number one.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says that he is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
Yeah.
And it is God and then everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Family, kids, spouse, it has to be God, and it has to be number one.
Yeah.
So, anything closing out the subject?
I think that was it. Just,
Awesome.
Don't be afraid.
Yep.
Don't be afraid. Go for it. Friendships are risky. They're work. But there's a lot about friendship in the Bible, and it's important. It's definitely good for your mental health, for your spiritual growth. So go for it. Don't be scared. Make a friend.
Okay. I've got my task in front of me. I'm going to have to go make some friends now. Awesome. Well, we'll close this out. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. You can share this content with your friends and family. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, and subscribe to us on YouTube. That'll help us out greatly. If you have a question or a comment, you can email us at forwardpodcast@gmail.com.